A 13 Investigates exclusive. An unprecedented amount of our kids are going to prison for gun charges. If the trends continue from January, we'll see quadruple the amount of minors charged with gun crimes in the state line. 13 Investigates William Ingalls joins us to explain why we're seeing the rise and what the city is doing to stop it. William.
Brittany, when you talk to local leaders, youth violence has been on the rise for years, but a spike in arrests have led to local leaders doubling their efforts to stop that youth violence in our community.
A breaking news update to get to right now. This just into our newsroom. A shooting investigation happening right now outside of Auburn High School.
An update on Rockford Police's investigation into a gun being found at East High School this morning. We now know those suspects are teenagers.
Just this past month, 7 kids were arrested on gun charges in Rockford. That's about a third of what the city sees in 1 year. Recently, 13 Investigates sat down with Rockford's police chief, Carla Red, and she says that while those statistics may be startling, the trend has been going on for years.
Because we've been seeing the uptick, specifically in juveniles with the gun crimes over the years. So not all of the cases necessarily lead to an arrest.
Here's what we've learned. In 2019, the average age of a person charged in relation to a gun crime was 31 and a half years old. In the 2 years since, that number drops by 5 years to 26 years old. Now, when minors get arrested, the Winnebago County State's Attorney's Office says they're seeing the same individuals coming to court.
We see a lot of repeat individuals or repeat names come up in police reports. So we think it's a small percentage of the population creating the most serious crimes that the community does hear about.
Each time a case like the ones at Auburn or East High Schools land on Robert Simmons' desk, he has to answer some hard questions.
Who's a delinquent and who's a criminal is essentially what it comes down to. And that is a tough part of the job to determine who needs the serious punishment for their actions versus who do we need to try to rehabilitate and who do we need to try to help because of their background.
The answer to that question for Jennifer Kajapalia, who leads Rockford's Office on Domestic and Community Violence, is making sure kids don't go into the system in the first place.
The key is really getting people in decisions of power to include and raise up and lift up and make room for seats at the table for people with lived experience so that we can start looking at these lenses through restorative eyes instead of only punitive.
She's talking about people who see or experience domestic or sexual violence at home because they are often the ones ending up in the streets.
While that's disturbing and it's something that we don't want to continue, there's also been a moment of, okay, now we understand better. Now we know better, so we have a better understanding of how we can do better.
So here's a proposed solution. The city of Rockford is putting a plan into action to unite city services, along with the police department, school district, park district, and other organizations to help give kids resources who may not have any at home.
Looking at the age groups that we're seeing, it's telling me that more work has to be done at an earlier age.
Where's the baton on a systems level collaborative approach that takes the baton from Head Start at 5? Who gets that?
The baton in some cases is a drumstick. Thomas Parker is with Youth Against Violence, who give their all each and every day to teach kids music and engage children outside of school.
I don't think that we have bad kids, okay? I think that our kids just don't have enough structured activity to do outside of playing sports.
Which is why he dedicates his life here at the 100 Strong Safe House, giving lessons on these kits and in life, because he knows the reality if kids don't get structure.
And that's where if we don't engage them, then the streets will. And that's where I believe that we are today.
So whether it's marching to the beat of a drum, a park program, or the Family Peace Center, Rockford is going all in to keep youth violence out of our streets.
If we just reach back and do some of the simplest, yet I will admit hardest things, we have an opportunity to really turn this around and do it in a way that it will be sustained long term.
6 of those 7 minors arrested in January were on Rockford Public School grounds. We reached out to the district a week before this story aired, but they said they did not have time to make an interview available. We have links to the resources shown in this story, like the Family Peace Center and Youth Against Violence, if you need help or want to get involved. For 13 Investigates, I'm William Ingalls.